Alright guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how Bitcoin has been pixel touching these volume levels and really how powerful those levels are, as well as when Bitcoin honey badger mode, because I said in yesterday's video I was very bullish and I was expecting Bitcoin to start firing off, and we almost had that yesterday, but we do see a bit of a pullback here. And the big question is, of course, is this a bullish pullback before we do fire off into honey badger mode, or is this potentially bearish? And we'll talk about all of that today, starting off over here in the main chart, because we got some volume levels that are really respecting each other. So these four lines within here, we have 2 points of control, which are in blue, value area high is green, and then value area low at the bottom there in purple. And these are all pulled from a previous low end range. What range is this? Well, it was from this range within here. We've talked about this in a couple of videos, but it's a fixed range volume profile within here, and you get these 2 points of control, as well as value area low, value area high, and previous volume ranges do get respected a lot of the times. And what we have seen recently on the chart is absolute pixel touching on these levels. So we came down here, grabbed the value area low, very quick wick off of it, shooting back up, quickly back testing this point of control, this first point of control, coming back up, testing that secondary point of control. Price then comes up over value area high. Doesn't really backtest it though. You could consider that a backtest maybe, but wasn't a clear backtest there. So we came back under, actually failed and rejected it, but did hold at this point of control very well a second time. And now, after sending through this value area high once again, we now have a proper backtest. So all this was really a breakout and backtest, in my opinion. Found some resistance on this point of control here, and we'll actually talk about where this came from in just a second. That's actually not a previous range, that is a session. So we'll look at my other chart to see those levels, but let's finish off here talking about the very local time frame stuff. Oh, and I should mention this, I'm actually in a long as well from the lows. Almost got stopped out here, so we'll see if I do get stopped out. My stop is in profit. I essentially added to my other long position. I was able to enter Pico bottom down here at around 56,300, and I wanted to add to this position because trend is your friend at the end of the trend, and we do have a trend of higher lows. So I went ahead and added on a different exchange, and not the same exchange, because that would ruin my entry average. So we'll see if that does get stopped out or not, but I did enter that on the backtest of this value area high because I thought it was a decent setup. So essentially, for this position to work out, I just want to see us hold this golden pocket. Bullish pullbacks to the golden pocket are always something that usually happens on the chart. So we came up here, swing low, swing high, pulled back to the golden pocket. So this is your level to watch very locally, right? It's about $59,000. So yeah, just watching to make sure we hold that golden pocket. Also, if you want to know how I entered that long position and the confluences I used, make sure to join my VIP Discord. It's specifically for leveraged trading, and we actually had our weekly meeting in there. So every week we get together, talk about the price action, and that's where we actually discovered Bitcoin pixel touching all of these volume levels on there, not just on this chart, but on the levels indicator chart that we'll get into in just a second. We see some really nice ways of identifying levels. So make sure to go check that out while it's 50% off. Second link in the description down below. It is only $20 for your first month right now using code EAGLE, and that is only going to last through the month of August. So definitely don't miss out on that. If you do leverage trade, go ahead, click the link, read more about it. But I don't want to waste any more of your time talking about that, because you guys came here for a little bit of a Bitcoin price update. So let's continue to talk about the Bitcoin price. Such as over here on Trading Light. This is a program I like to use to see what order flow is doing in the charts, what whales are doing as well. And we got some buy and sell walls we can talk about. First off though, on the 5-minute time frame here, let's discuss why we had this pullback initially and why it's not necessarily all too bearish, because it was just taking out some late longer. So essentially within this trend right within here, right, we see open interest coming down, meaning positions are closing. So these are shorts closing in here. And then when price goes parabolic, what is this? Well, this is longs opening. So we have longs opening throughout here. So this is where your longs started to open right there on price. And this is on Binance, by the way. So we have longs are open from this level within here, and then we see Binance is on the right. So let's see what they're doing with order flow within this move here. So we see here this uptrend right there. That is a mix of longs opening, shorts closing. So not too much to go off of there, but when we do squeeze up, this is not longs opening, this is shorts closing. So we short squeeze there, so longs opening on Binance, shorts squeezing on Bybit. We want to see what Bybit does next. Are they going to add it to short positions? Potentially going to get squeezed higher if they do that, or are they going to long after a short squeeze? Usually when you start seeing longs after a short squeeze, you see a bit of a reversal. And what we saw here throughout this ranging activity open interest is going up, CVD is going up. They start longing the top. So clearly Bybit has been on the wrong side of the market here. Their shorts got squeezed, and instead of continuing to short, they flipped them into longs, so it started longing the top. And as they start opening longs, price does not continue up. It has a reversal point, and once you see these lower lows on price, lower highs on price, that was your warning sign that all of these longs are probably going to get squeezed. And what we see now is really nice because open interest has trended back down. All of the longs that have opened here are now squeezed down and they got closed out, so we don't have to worry about them anymore, and we should be good to go to fly up here on price. And not only that, but Bybit has started to short once again. So now they're opening shorts just like they were back here at these previous lows, and there's a good chance that they're going to get squeezed once again. We see open interest coming up, CVD going down, open interest going up, CVD going down. So not a crazy amount of shorts being opened, but definitely do see Bybit overall is trying to short the lows after longing the highs and shorting the lows previously. So what does that tell us? It probably means that this is actually going to become a low, and we probably do make some sort of double bottom formation here and hold this golden pocket. Now let's talk about some of these walls, because I had said there's some walls in the order book. Yeah, we do see some whales in here. 550 Bitcoin down lower, looking for a potential grab down here, where this liquidity is built. Could also just be a spoof order. Same thing with the highs up here. We got a pretty big wall. This one's actually over 1,000 Bitcoin sell wall. Up at the highs here, potentially looking for a retracement to get filled, or once again, could just be a spoof in the order books. Not really too much to say when it comes to those walls, but definitely something noteworthy. If you do have trading light, keep an eye on these walls, see if they do in fact get filled, or if they were spoofs and they get removed from the order book. Now let's go back to TradingView. I want to talk about some of these levels, starting off with the channel that we have been talking about for quite some time, right? We're in a descending channel right now. I fully expect us to break out to the upside, and what we got yesterday was just another tap on the mid-channel trend, another rejection, but the more times you test a level, the more likely it is to break. So we now have 4 taps on this level. I'm assuming this is going to break, right? You don't really tap a level, especially pixel perfect like this, that many times, especially on a retail pattern, right? A descending channel is something a retail is going to be using to trade. I highly doubt all of these shorts are going to get away with shorting that. There is going to be a ton of liquidity up here that needs to get grabbed. So either we have a swing failure to grab that, right, and fail back under, that's bearish, or we actually fire on up, Bitcoin goes into honey badger mode. I fully expect the latter, but overall I do think this indicates that price is going to come up and grab up higher. But it is really cool to see we're pixel touching the mid-channel trend, so you can see these levels being respected very, very well. I don't want to just talk about this mid-channel trend though. I wanted to go ahead and open up the level identifier on my chart. This is something we haven't looked at recently here on the YouTube channel, so I wanted to pull it up. Let's get rid of this mid-channel trend. And you're probably saying this chart is ridiculous. How can you even look at the price? It's so cluttered. And essentially what I do is just use this to identify levels, and then I can go to my regular chart and then add in the levels with boxes or dashed lines or whatever. But essentially what this is a whole bunch of volume profiles. So session volume profiles from your weekly, monthly, 2-month, and the daily volume profiles. So every time the day, week, etc. opens, it's going to create a new profile. Whenever that week ends, it closes off the profile, and then you get naked volume levels. Essentially, whenever the day, week, etc. closes and you don't retest that level, it creates naked volume levels, such as all of these. Anything that extends out from price is going to be a naked POC, VAH, etc. And all of these will act as big support resistance. And what we see up here is pretty important. This is 64,500. This is a big support resistance flip. So I will mark this out back on my regular chart now. Let's go ahead and put something at 64,500 because that is a very important level. I have this like purple line here. I'm actually going to put this and make it blue because that is more of a point of control, and I'm just going to put 2 levels here, right? This was at 64,477 and it looks like 64,652. So 477,652. This is a big point of interest for me when we get up there. I do expect that if we get all the way up here, you are now going to be clearly above this mid-channel trend, clearly probably not going to be a swing failure. I will be looking for something like that. That is definitely a possibility, right? If we come all the way up here, backtest this point of control, then come back down to backtest mid-channel trend, and then reject value area low, this setup right here is definitely in the cards. So be watching out for something like that. But I would expect if we can get up here, we're probably going to be backtesting value area low as support, signaling value area high, signaling all-time highs. So that's a big level to watch on the chart for sure. And then what are some levels that are being pixel touched right now? Well, let's jump into the hourly time frame just so you can see how these work. Weekly point of control within here, right? Session week POC, pixel touched on that low there. We also see this monthly point of control over here on this larger profile, pixel touch to the upside as well. So let's see if we can actually get back above this, flip that into support, right? So we got that within there. And then we also see some stuff like these value area lows within here on the weekly time frame have been respected very well. I'm just drawing out two of these lows that got respected pretty pixel perfectly, as well as value area high here on this previous day point of control. Wasn't exactly a pixel touch because we did initially reject and then come back up and make a sweep of the sweep. But yeah, you can see how these levels do play out very, very well on the daily session. And not only does it play out well on Bitcoin, but this stuff also plays out very well in other markets such as the S&P. So let's talk about the S&P here. This is not going to be the session volume profiles, but the fixed range. So I pulled a fixed range in our VIP meeting that we had today, and we found this point of control is where we're finding support right now. So what you would expect is after tapping point of control, you would probably go and rotate to value area high. Once again, rotation to value area high here is probably going to break all-time highs, and this is of course the S&P 500. So breaking all-time highs on the S&P 500 is going to be extremely bullish for all markets, and I do think we got that coming soon in the cards. But some levels to watch here is this point of control. Is it going to break? If it does break, we got a value area low just below us as well. So we'll see, what kind of happens here. I do expect us to ramp on up here and to not even test value area low, but some levels to watch, right? Potentially value area low test, and potentially even worse, this could actually swing fail because we did come up and grab some liquidity. So if this is truly bearish, right, there's definitely the case where the S&P does reject here and we could still enter the bear market. So we had a swing failure of these previous highs. If market makers are going to keep that, they're going to keep this liquidity safe, right? They don't want that to get grabbed. Yes, this could be the high on the S&P and we could roll over. So these are some important levels to watch. These two levels are coming in right at around $5,500 to $5,600 on the S&P. Do we have to hold them? No, absolutely not. We've been going up for almost 10 days straight here on the S&P. A pullback to potentially all the way down to the golden pocket is not something that's necessarily bearish at all, but I would say, with trend of the lower highs now, if we were to break down back to that golden pocket, while yes, this could definitely be a bullish correction and we could go up higher, I would be getting a little bit cautious assuming we do that. So let's see if the S&P can just continue this parabola. We can continue this third angle of attack. We've been talking about these angles of attack on the S&P, how we've gotten steeper within here, the definition of a parabola, and we don't necessarily want that parabola to slow down right now. We want to see us blast back up into all-time highs and for that euphoria to continue for our risk on assets. But yeah, essentially pretty critical point on Bitcoin right now. Is this going to hold? Are we going to play a big catch-up game to the S&P, or is the S&P going to roll over and Bitcoin start to roll over and make lower lows, lower highs? Only time will tell, but I think overall with this backtest of value area high on Bitcoin, it does signal probably going to go back up, bust through these poor highs and accept those higher ranges, entailing the potential for us to go all the way to all-time highs as my base case suggests. But if you have any questions about anything I talked about or just want to join the community for this channel, link to my Discord is in the description down below. The VIP Discord, as I talked about, is just below that link, so make sure to go check that out. Also have some exchange partners down below, some of which are running exclusive limited time events specifically for people that use my referral link to sign up, so definitely don't miss out on that. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.